Hello, I'm James Currie with the Communication Department here at MCHD. I'm talking to Dr. Mike Hoppe. He is the senior pastor of Saraland United Methodist Church. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, James. Good to be with you today.
Yes, thank you for being here. This is another part of our series that we're talking about Enneagram, which is knowing yourself, knowing your personality, and why it's helpful so that you can get along with your coworkers, your spouse, your friends, your family, and just a wide range of health benefits from knowing yourself and staying healthy for mind, body, and spirit. Now, we've been talking about the Enneagram personality profile, and there are 9 different personality types. Doesn't necessarily mean that a 1 is superior and a 9 is inferior. The order of the numbers have nothing to do with it. It's just a classification. So having said that, today we're talking about type 3s, and those are the achievers. Do you know anybody that's a type 3, Mike?
That's a good question, James. You're talking to one right now. I'm a 3. Yeah. And so I started studying the Enneagram a few years ago and really just got into it. I've done lots of personality profiles over the years. This one just really has spoken to me more than many of the others. Others are helpful, but I love this one. In my own studies, and I came to discern, and I've taken a few tests as well, but I've come to discern that I'm a 3. And once I discovered my own number, and I started reading descriptions of what my number means, it was like reading my life story. It was just unbelievable. And to realize that it's one of 9 personality types. There are so many other people out there like me that respond to the world and decisions and stresses like me. It was really helpful to me.
Yeah, our one of our other videos, we talked about type 2, which is me. So when we were speaking about that, I was just had to kind of contain myself and be quiet, like, okay, Mike is talking about me right now. So, this might be kind of difficult for you, or maybe it's easy for you. I mean, did you feel like, the heavens opened and everything above opened up when you found out, wow, this is the type of person that I am? And did your actions and interactions with other people make more sense to you?
Yeah, I would say definitely. In fact, as I read descriptions of what a 3 means, I was thinking all the way back through childhood and the way I responded to things. I'm the only 3 in my family, so that explains why I maybe responded differently to things than my 2 brothers or my parents did. It makes a lot of sense to me now. A 3 at its core is an achiever, and a 3 loves to achieve and work up to whatever the highest level of success is in their field. And I'm sure it looks different in different countries and in different contexts. And 3s might want to be the very, very best salesman on the car lot. They might want to get the very best grade in their class. They might want to get the top scholarship. They're really trying to achieve. And at that core of what a 3 really is pushing for, and we talked about this last week, our core needs and our core desires go back to childhood. There's a desire within all of us to be loved, and we're seeking affirmation and love from people. And a 3, early on in life, likely had an experience or a thought that it's in my achieving something, in having success, that other people will notice me and like me and love me. And so our achievement is for accolades. There's probably no other number that needs affirmation and accolades as much as a number 3 does. Is that they feel their worth and sense of value by their achievement.
Now, to your own detriment, now, you know how wonderful it feels when you achieve, and you check that last box off your list and say, okay, my list is done. But detrimentally, what about failure? What if you don't achieve? How does that make you feel?
Yeah, and the interesting thing about a 3 is probably their boxes are never all checked off, because there's always a higher place to attain. So there can be some frustration in a 3, and especially if a 3 is not moving up in the direction that they think is a direction of success, it can really bring a lot of self-question, a lot of self-doubt and discouragement.
Mhm.
And if a 3 is not successful or achieving, there even may be some questions like who am I? Am I even worthy? Am I a worthless person? That's one of the interesting things about a 3. But when things are going well for a 3, they're full of energy. Nobody will outwork a 3, because when they see they're working towards some objective that is good, that's making a difference, and 3s are full of energy. And so in all of our videos so far, we've talked about moments of health and moments of stress.
Mhm.
There are arrows in the Enneagram. If you look at the picture of an Enneagram, it has arrows. And in a moment of stress, in a moment of health, a number 3 will move towards a 6 characteristic. And when you think about the best characteristics of a 6, a 3 wants to work well with a team. They want people to work well together. They're loyal to the group.
Mhm.
And that's a healthy thing for a 3 to do, not just thinking about self-achievement, but group achievement.
Mhm.
So that's a movement of health. And then a moment of stress, a number 3 will move towards a number 9. And when you think about some of the more difficult aspects of a 9 personality, 3s can become very overwhelmed in stressful moments. This is what 9s are kind of known for as well. That when moments of stress happen, and I see this in my own life, too many irons are in the fire, or I just become low emotionally, or I can't do anything. I'm paralyzed.
Mhm.
And so I'll kind of retreat and not get anything done. And so this has helped me to realize when I get to this moment that, I'm in a moment of unhealth. I'm in a moment of stress. It's helped my wife, because when she sees me get to that kind of a place, she understands.
Mhm.
My wife is a 1, and so she's a get her done kind of person and doesn't ever turn her motors off. And so when I turn my motors off and I get into this confused or
Yeah.
paralyzed moment, it helps her to have compassion on me, because it's not just me as an individual, it's my personality type.
Now, how long have you two known your personality type numbers?
My wife,
As a married couple.
yeah, as a married couple, my wife was into it first before I was, and
Mhm.
for a long time said, Mike, you need to really get into this. And so I took her advice and I started reading books on it. And I have a kind of a life coach as well that I meet with, and my life coach is trained in Enneagram, so I had a lot of questions for him. And so I've learned a lot over, especially the last year. We've really grown in understanding our own relationship as it relates to each other in our numbers. One thing that we haven't talked a lot about yet in the videos is wings. And every number has a wing. So if you're a person who has identified as a 3, for example, your dominant wing will either be the number before you or the number after you. So you will be either a wing 2 or a wing 4. And I am a 3 with a 4 wing. And so reading the description of with a 4 wing of a 3, it's kind of a subtype that
Mhm.
is so accurate for me. A 3 with a 2 will be a 3 achiever, but have more of an inclination towards people. They're the charmers. They're the charismatic people that like to charm a crowd. But 3 wing 4, like I am, is known as the professional, and a 3 wing 4 likes to become the best at their field. They're the highest professional in their field. And so to know that about me, and that's how I'm geared to be. That's how God made me. That helps me to know why I pursue the things that I do in life.
Well, you are Dr. Mike Hoppy. So, I mean, you have excelled in your career path. And, do you think you're as high as you can go, or can you go higher?
In academics,
Yeah.
there are certainly other things that you can do with academics, but yeah, I think behind the 3, there's always more. Now, I happen to be a pastor, and so it's just the calling that I think God's placed on my particular life. 3s go in any kind of field really and just try to achieve, but
Mhm.
there's always more. And so, especially in my field, I always have to stop and realize that in my field, this is a work of God. So bigger and bigger church, more and more people, more and more resources. You're always attaining those kinds of things and pushing for those kinds of things. And it's helpful for me to know that and to step back and stop and realize that, my self-worth isn't just in numbers or in stats or in attaining the next level, but there are things that are worth relationship building. And so coaches will tell a 3, and this is something that we all have to remember as 3s, that our worth is not in what we achieve. We're not loved because of what we achieve.
Mm-hmm.
We're loved because of who we are as individuals, that we're lovable, and God made us this way, and it's okay to be just who we are, even if we don't achieve. That's the hardest thing for a 3 to get through their mind, is that we have intrinsic worth and value aside from our successes.
Yeah, and every single person has worth and value, and it's good to have somebody, like you mentioned, a life coach. It's good to have somebody that brings out those things, that brings out the best in you, to help you understand your worth and your value. But let's talk about some of the famous people that you share, being a threes with. So let's see if these people are achievers as well. Augustus Caesar.
Oh, wow.
Emperor Constantine, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, Condoleezza Rice, Muhammad Ali, Tiger Woods, Lance Armstrong, Elvis Presley, Ben Kingsley. You've got a good group of people there that look like, hey, they still have boxes, that needed to have been checked that they will never be able to check. Anything else you'd like to add, maybe on a personal note about being a 3, or anything that maybe has helped you?
Yeah. Interestingly, of course, I've done a lot of studying on 3 more than any other number because that's my own number. I have a daily devotional guide just made for 3s. There are resources just for individual numbers out there, where people can study much more in depth. Like I said, the 40-day devotional guide that I have every day, it's targeted towards understanding where I come from. And I think that could be a good resource for some people, is to look up some resources online if you really want to know your own personality and how you tick. What's interesting about a 3 is we're in the middle of that heart triad. We make decisions by our heart and our feelings, and yet we repress our feelings at the same time. So it's just an interesting thing about us, because feelings for a 3 get in the way of success. Mm-hmm. So we have deep feelings and yet we repress them. So that's something for us 3s to work on, is working on that feeling side of us and allowing who we are just to be who we are.
And sometimes failure is okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's hard for 3 to admit, but you can learn from failure.
Well, now, if you were on Apollo 13, failure is not an option, of course. Well, Dr. Mike, thank you again for helping with this series and understanding, just someone's overall health from mind, body, and spirit. And hopefully, people will seek out, the free resources or the paid resources just to know who you are. There's a book I've had here for several videos. I checked it out from the public library. It's free. So, there's a lot of resources like that out there. Well, thanks again, and thanks for watching Wellness Wednesday.